Today, we're on a hunt for Project Zomboid secrets, creepy buildings, hidden doors, and unexplained mysteries all around the map. Let's kick off the list with number 7, Suspicious Trailer House. If you wander through the Marlborough countryside, you might come across this lonely house surrounded by a fence. It looks pretty normal from the outside, but something's just a little bit off. If you step inside, you'll find a microscope standing on one of the tables and strange burn marks all over the floor. Inside the cabinets, there'll be some variation of cooking pots, painkillers, coveralls, and surgical gloves. Not your average kitchen equipment. Now let's talk about the abandoned-looking building next door, which is even more strange. The place is completely covered in trash and random furniture. There are crates scattered around the place full of miscellaneous tools and random weapons. If I were to take a guess, I think these people were running some kind of illegal lab before the apocalypse hit. It would explain why they chose to set up in the middle of nowhere. Next up we have number 6, Murder Mystery Motel. If you visit the Econo Rooms Motel in Louisville, you'll come across a sealed-off crime scene. On the ground floor, you'll see a room with barriers set up outside the door and a medical gurney close by. When you step inside, you'll find blood splatter on the walls and floor, but no body. There's nothing else out of the ordinary either, no ambulance or police vehicles, no murder weapon. Either everything was cleaned up before the apocalypse started and the gurney just happened to be left behind, or everyone involved turned into a zombie and walked away from the scene. I looked all around the motel hoping to find some evidence of a murderer in one of the rooms, but nothing so far. The murder remains a mystery. Also, the blood splatter is permanent. You can't wash it out with bleach, so maybe don't set up base here. Moving on to number 5, the Hermit Survivor house. If you travel to the northwest of the map, you'll find an eerily abandoned town. Rows of houses with shattered windows, graffiti all over the walls, and trash littering the floor. Each house has this long forgotten for sale sign out the front, all except one. In the top right corner of the town, there's this small house which is perfectly maintained. It has its own fence and garage, unlike any of the others, and it is anything but abandoned. Inside is a modest living room with an antique TV, a tidy bedroom with a single bed, and a storage room with animal traps. The garage also has some survival essentials, including an improvised farm, a generator, and a radio. It seems like at some stage, everybody just chose to abandon this town and sell their homes for some reason. Maybe the CGE Corp closed its offices, or there was some other issue in the area. This one person, however, chose to stay behind and live off the land. Maybe they even survived and we'll get to meet them someday in Build 42. Fingers crossed. Number 4, quarantine rooms. If you're brave enough to visit the hospital during a zombie apocalypse, you won't be disappointed by the absolute chaos you'll find. The ICU rooms are covered with blood splatter all over the walls, and the whole area is an absolute mess. St. Peregrine Hospital, however, has something special. On the 3rd floor, you'll find what looks like a research wing of the hospital. There are several rooms set up with tables and microscopes. At the center of it all are 8 heavily protected quarantine rooms. There are monitors set up just outside. It looks like these rooms could have been used to study the infected during the first stage of the outbreak. There's some blood splatter on the walls, indicating things got violent at some stage. It's too bad not even the heavily guarded cells were strong enough to protect the workers from the undead. Number 3, hidden observation room. If you've completed the tutorial, you'll remember that Spiffo teaches you the basics of survival, step by step, before feeding you to a horde of zombies. If you choose to ignore him, however, and look around the area instead, you'll find some mysterious buildings hidden in the corners of the map. First, there's this locked building in the top right corner with "Keep Out" written outside. The door will always be locked here, so the only way to check it out for yourself is to clip through with debug mode. Spiffo will not be happy about you doing this. Inside, you'll see a huge graphic of Spiffo on the wall in a room full of monitoring equipment. This room is actually good evidence for the Spiffo infection theory. I made a whole video about infection lore. If you're into that kind of thing, you can check it out here. There is also a second locked room on the opposite side of the map filled with cold lockers, which is even more evidence that you're not the first or the last test subject to be used for this experiment. Number 2, real-life TV sets. If you're able to survive the busiest street in the center of Louisville, you'll be rewarded with something truly unique. A chance to see life and living with your own eyes. Well, kind of. There's this building called the News Now Network, which, from the outside, looks just like any other ordinary office. On the second floor though, you'll find the sets for woodcraft, cook show, and exposure survival. There isn't much loot here aside from one gun safe, but it's really fun to look around the sets and monitoring rooms. If you like this kind of thing, there's a second building for the Turbo Network, which has more fun film sets and equipment. There's one set up to look like a courtroom and another one like the front of a house. There are also these creepy mannequins hidden in some of the rooms. This is a really fun place to clear if you're up for the challenge. And finally, number 1, creepy barricaded room. There's this one house on the mansion lane that has 2 pools in the front yard. It looks just like any other mansion style building with large rooms, fancy furniture, and expensive decorations. If you go up to the attic, however, you'll find a door barricaded with 4 planks. Inside is a room that has been sealed away for so long, there's cracks running down the walls. It looks like it used to belong to a child. It seems like this family couldn't come to terms with the loss, so they just barricaded everything the way it was. This is one of the saddest scenes I've seen so far in Project Zomboid. Bonus: Hidden Fortress. Now this area is technically not part of the game because it's outside of the map's bounds, but the building is very unique. Located in the east, close to Louisville, there's this 2-story fortress in the shape of a square. It is completely empty in the center with this single statue with a street lamp on it. Along the walls inside is what looks like a military barracks with a dining room, some prison cells, and sleeping quarters. Right outside, there's also this military office building. I wonder if this has something to do with the planned Fort Knox map expansions. Have you stumbled across a map secret? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe to the channel for more survival game content. Thanks for watching.